awa me ntio
Sejo coach Tunde Sanni said odi kan etudwa no Kwara United coach no Sejo ni ho akere no na after talking a lot of kasakasa or kai in that game against Kotoko, even before the game Sejo na league games omabo only one win pen wenya, losing against Rivers United, drawing against Warri Wolves, and the only win was against Kun Khalifat. Ena obebo that game against Kotoko, losing 4-3 ewa Accra Sports Stadium. Ojananum ese Kotoko beba betono ewa biekutao Sejo Kotoko went there and managed to bring a 1-0 win ewo home courtesy Meka Hubert Jawu, and of course Sejo ama coach Tunde Sanni ehwa kwakoka ama sisi Kwara United hierarchy no a decide say omo be slash na ketua no by half, and besides Sejo mama na 3 matches ultimatum say ontimi win those games no Sejo wentimi enya that result ebiana omo line a different culture oba betiki over menim I say omo are too disappointed ewo Africa now omo free no, because before the game now they were highly confident of omo chances, and especially after scoring 3 ewo Accra Sports Stadium despite conceding 4 no munim so metimi aye so easy against Kumasi Asante Kotoko ewo the Mushuda Biola Stadium in Abeokuta, but Sejo it ended at their wrong thinking. Ni ena nkomo dwene wo se Sejo amane sa. So coach Tunde Sanni Sejo ni wa kwakoka ama se decision Kwara United omo top hierarchy no atiki no. Eno one game eba so ewo Rwanda was between Army Patriotic Rwandese Football Club APR amamfo beka mopa, because they've been here before in 2003 when Kotoko eliminated Mount Cameroon. The next stage was against APR, and APR eliminated Kotoko. Besides, Rwanda national team now Kasasa shared the Black Stars of Ghana and prevented the Black Stars from making it to the 2004 edition of the AFCON. So, as I said, Pyramids were in action at the FIFA Intercontinental Cup games. No, Sejo, and Mamo Messin in action during the CAF Champions League game. So, we are the first leg a Basu ever Rwanda. And Sejo, check the level of the stadium. And stadium no shut down so just stands no, not too much of Ebia Obeka says stands are so, but check the level of the pitch. It was good for CAF. So Mobejia to say games like this. CAF Champions League game. It's me basu. But yeah, nya apart from Accra Sports Stadium, stadia no be fit for purpose. CAF any FIFA nyina bejia tum nearby games. And this was how Fisting Kalala, the DR Congo International, scored those brace now. Eboa Emma African champions. Sejo Meka Pyramid FC share APR by 2-0. They've already won the first leg. Okay. Second leg Sejo I think say be mere formality, because I don't see APR beating Pyramid FC in the second leg. They are home and drive, and they'll be going into the next stage of the competition. Sejo Oko under 20 championship now. Morocco shocked a lot of people, including me. 2 goals before say around 92nd minutes. And a Brazilian team no enya consolation goal. Teodoro eteka Baku Emma no koye 2-1 in favor of the Moroccans. So now Morocco after 2 games said you group no so heading, because if you are in a group with Spain, you are in a group with Brazil, you are in a group with Mexico, said you group near, because Mexico is also one of the teams almost very good when it comes to this junior championship, being it under 17 or under 20. But the Moroccan team made sure said the two top teams I will group no said you Omashobia, they've defeated Spain, they've defeated Brazil, and now almost secure almost spot into the round of 16. The last game against Mexico, they said you a mere formality, yeah, bono for academic purposes, because the Moroccan team have already booked their spot. May you so met me replicate a dear Ghana year in 2009 now. Said you what this Moroccan team are doing. Yes, football in a competition, they do any mona. Obi a wire di o group stage quite anyone who are disappointed, but per the level of the consistent result this Moroccan team no chere no sejo ebia no motima ye hu bibi, even someone timi a win the championship nkrampo at least to reach the medal zone, it being it either 3rd place or 2nd spot no sejo I think say very very good for the Moroccan contingent no ade amoye na enye fluke, because it comes from the club football Sejo and the national team football. For the first time, Yenya Morocco will do semi-final. World Cup. For the first time in 2023, 2 years ago, we saw Moroccan team amoye ma moko World Cup. And under 17, we saw them winning. Under 20 AFCON, they were in the finals, unfortunately, Omuluzu against South Africa. Oba clubs, so I said, they are performing creditably because Ebedu maybe every year, na one or two Moroccan sides in the finals of either the CAF Confederation Cup or the CAF Champions League. So what the Moroccan contingent are doing is enye fluke, enye rocket science. Idea or more planning. 2 games are many beshe African reps are mumose uremu ene. Nigeria disappointed in their first game against Norway. They lost against Norway by a goal to nil. But the second game against Saudi Arabia, neno yedi ni ebe to Nigeria for no so ne hu ade a mbetimi aye. I think say Saudi shouldn't be a team a bit trouble or not too much there. In as much as somewhere disappointing in the first game against Norway, I think that Nigeria should be able to account for Saudi Arabia in the second game. African champions, South Africa. Almost said their first game they lost, and the second game I remember they lost against France by 2-1. The game against New Caledonia. Said New Caledonia ne omonye too much of a team. Omonso beka say omonye strong when it comes to the under 20 championship. And I think say the South African team and African champions, they should be able to account for their opponent New Caledonia. Only Morocco Kwana my wins. African contingent, or the World Under 20 Championship now. Because Egypt lost their first 2 games Abaso, losing against New Zealand, losing against Japan. Morocco netimi ashe Spain and Omasa ashe Brazil. For Nigeria and South Africa, they lost their first games, both of them. They lost their first games and into the second group games. Some of the African countries, the national team squads ahead of next week's FIFA 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Last 2 games, and then MS5. The Ivory Coast manager, Osai African champions, or more manager, said you were releasing his squad. Now, interestingly, said you only one player pen or bobo Africa account. That is Pakomi Zuzua, the younger playmaker, Neoteka, when they played Mediama Ewa. No, the only player or Bonnie Ball ewe bibrima. The rest of the squad in Seju Obia Esina Kai Ewo Amanone. Those usual big guys are within the squad. Seko Fofana, Frank Kessie, Amad Diallo, Sebastian Halle, Seju, all the big guns are part of the squad. And Open so Meka Pape Chiao, the coach of Senegal, so in the squad aba Omu Remu into the last 2 games against South Sudan and of course Mauritania. Now Senegal badly needed the win against DR Congo. They conceded 2 goals in the first half, but they came back strongly and won the game by 3-2. And no na ama more opportunity, ama more babeda omu group now say omu on top. Now they just have to march on and make sure somebody maximizes the result. Senegal will be making an appearance to their 4th ever World Cup after 2002, after 2018, and then Qatar 2022. And Sejo, per this squad that coach Papi Thiaw has released, and I think say on so bet me an opportunity. Last 2 games against Mauritania and South Sudan, yeah, Sejo, I think says and said trouble Senegal too much. Last 2 games, Coach Kwesi Apia and the team Akotiada, Ama say DR Congo and Senegal and a fat top spot, Coach Hugo Bruce also in the final squad aba, on also Edibabe Rim against Rwanda and of course Zimbabwe. Yes, and this weekend Monday nebeto just say more points for fielding an ineligible Tebo Mokoena. In as much as a man for who say South Africa points, atiaba from they still have the chance to make it into the World Cup in 2026 because 2 games, technically bonimi enu home. One against Rwanda and of course another one against Zimbabwe. I said, I think South Africa, even with 14 points, despite Benin also being on their top with also 14 points, based on the games now, South Africa still has the chance to qualify into the 2026 World Cup. And of course, Burkina Faso so said in that 2 games, one of them against Ethiopia. For my group, Egypt and Dika take his spot with 4 points difference. Egypt just need a win in one of the games and they are good to go. They will be securing their spot in the 2026 World Cup.
All right. Yentwaso de Amamo. Midfield action Thursday.